Good morning, everyone. My name is Michelle Kotler, President and CEO of Kotler Consulting Corporation. First, I'd like to explain to you what makes me a comeback champion and why I'm so happy and proud to be a presenter at this wonderful summit. Then I'm going to tell you three things about growing money that perhaps you've never heard before. I know I didn't until I got into this field. And then I'm going to offer you a special offer at the end of the presentation, a free offer. So first of all, what makes me a comeback champion? Well, I've been an attorney in Maryland and Washington, D.C. since 2001. I was a very active member of the bar. I worked probably too much, 80 to maybe sometimes 100 hours a week. I had a busy social life and I traveled extensively. I was just living a very full, normal life like everyone else. And then one day, around 40 years old or so, I woke up and I felt like I was 200 years old. I was in pain from head to toe. I was exhausted all the time. I was in bed for about 2 years, and doctors could not find anything wrong. So my life basically went from the best it had ever been to really the worst that it had ever been. I had no income coming in, and you can imagine how devastating that would be for someone financially to not be able to work for at least 2 years. Fortunately, I got better. To make a long story short, I got back to work. But through that experience, I really became quite clear that my mission was to help other people protect themselves from the financial devastation of disability and illness. I had been a disability attorney for many years, and I saw it in my clients, but then when I lived it myself, it really made an impression. So, of course, I started looking for ways to help people protect themselves financially from disability, and they do exist. This led me into the financial services field and retirement advising. I've learned strategies to help people live an incredible retirement that they perhaps never knew about before. I know I didn't. And not only did I succeed in my profession as an independent advisor, but I actually entered the top 20 of the advisors for a global financial company. I'm in the top 20 in the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area within a 200-mile radius of Washington, D.C. I'm also a member of the $1 Million Roundtable, and I finally broke through the glass ceiling, a part of the Old Boys Network now. So I love what I do. I love helping people have financial freedom in ways that are maybe unimaginable to them right now. I help people rescue their retirement. I help people save tons of money in taxes and share with them information that is, for some reason, the best kept secret. And now I'm going to share some of that with you today. So I'm very happy that I came back from my health crisis. I'm very, very happy I found this wonderful, fantastic profession that I love. And I'm going to share some secrets with you today. So thanks for watching. The first secret I'm going to share with you is the most effective and efficient way to grow money that for some reason is just not really well publicized. So as a background, there are three ways to grow money, okay? And I'm going to draw my little handy dandy graph here. Please pretend these lines are straight, okay? I'm no artist. The first way to grow money that you're all familiar with is to put it, let's say, in a bank account, for example, or a CD or a money market, something like that, where it's a contract. You have a contract with the bank. You know that you're going to get your little piddly rate of interest. Right now, interest rates are around 0.6%. So you don't even get 1 whole% in the bank. Gee, can they spare it, right? But you know what you're going to get. You know you're not going to lose any money, and it's very, very safe. That's one way to grow money. Another way to grow money, which is very commonly used, is through a market. And a market is something like either the real estate market or the gold market, or more commonly the stock market. And when we do that, we put our money in and it goes up, it goes down, the markets go up, they come down, sometimes they go way down. This is not an actual representation of any kind of market performance. It's just to give you the concept. And I call this the roller coaster ride, okay? So this is the market. This is anytime a third party tells you what something is worth. Most people save for retirement in the stock market, which is all well and good unless you retire right before a crash. A major stock market correction, people can lose 20, 30, 40% of their money or more. And if this happens to you when you're age 60, 65, 70, it can be financially devastating because you no longer have the work years ahead of you to recover that loss. All right. For small business owners in particular, if we don't have a pension to fall back on, if you don't have an employer match in a 401k, and all of your retirement nest egg is in the stock market, that can be a very, very dangerous mix as you get older. All right. Now I want to teach you the third way to grow money, which ends up being financially the most effective way to grow money, but it's the one that is the least well known. I have no idea why. And this is called the indexed method of growing money. The fixed indexed method works like this. You put your money in, all right, and it's linked to the stock market performance, but your money is not actually in the stock market. And what that means is this. When the stock market is doing well, your money also does well, and it grows. And then in a year, your money locks in, all right? And the stock market keeps growing, and your money keeps growing, and then it locks in again. Now, let's say the stock market has a bad year. You stay locked in up here. Once you're locked in, you can't go backwards in the indexed method, okay? So now the stock market is down. Now it comes back up again. You grow and you recover and you lock in. And the stock market goes down again. You're still fixed up here. And so on and so forth. So instead of being on a roller coaster, you're on a staircase. And the staircase is much, much more powerful. So mathematically speaking, and I don't have time to explain to you in this short video why this is the case, but generally speaking, people who save money using this index staircase method end up with about twice as much money over the same period of time as people who let it all ride in the stock market. Now that's over a long time horizon, of course. All right. I will share one quick image with you though that helps explain why this is the case. And this is called the impact of losses. So bear with me, I'm going to share my screen. This is third-party information. Now remember, I'm an independent advisor, and I like to use third-party information from researchers so that you can see, or my clients can see, that it's not just me saying something, all right? So let me briefly explain this chart to you. This is from an organization called Crestmont Research. They're a third-party think tank of researchers, mathematicians, actuaries, statisticians, and they crunch these numbers all the time. To them, this is fun. To me, it is not fun, but the information is great information and I like to share it with my clients. What this chart means is if you look at the red line here, if your money is in the stock market and the stock market experiences a 10% loss one year, you have to have an 11% gain the next year just to break even and get back to zero where you started. Now, if you have a 30% decline in the market one year, you need a 43% gain the following year just to get back to zero. That doesn't mean that you've gained 43% in your account. If you lost 30% the year before, you now have to recover 43% just to get back to the same dollar amount you had before you lost 30%. And you can see as the loss is greater, the gains have to be exponentially greater to try to get back to where you started from. And historically, there have been some very large market corrections. 2020, because of coronavirus, had the worst first quarter in stock market history. We had very, very deep slump this quarter, the first quarter of this year. So we never know when a major correction is going to come, and that's the problem. No one has a crystal ball. So if you are getting closer to retirement, if you're in your 50s, your 60s, your 70s and beyond, then these concepts become extremely important. It's much more important to conserve your growth and not lose money than it is to try to constantly beat the market, okay? And I'm going to explain to you very, very easily why, in a simple explanation why this is, all right? So think of it like this. Let's pretend that you've got $10 and you lose 50% of that. You're down, you've lost $5. Now you're down to $5. You have $5 left. 10 minus 5 is 5. Now let's say that you grow 50%. Well, half of $5 is 250, right? So now you've only got $7.50. Even though you lost 50% and then you gained 50%, you're still down from your original $10. You're still down to $7.50. All right, that's about as simple an explanation as I can show you. This is how money works. The losses or the negatives have a significant drag on your money. It's much, much more powerful for you to use a fixed indexed method of growth than to let all your money ride in the stock market. Now, it's good to have some money in the market and some money outside the market. You want to aim for diversification. That's the key to success. Okay. Now, the next concept that I promised I would share with you is the concept of saving taxes. Saving taxes is very, very critical whenever you can do so legally, of course. Remember, I'm an attorney, all right? And we want to save taxes or avoid taxes, but we want to do it in a legal manner. So there are three ways that your growth can be taxed. The first way is that your growth can be taxed today. What does that mean? That means that if you have your money in a, let's say, a mutual fund, and you sell shares of your mutual fund, or you sell shares of your stock, or you earn interest in the bank, you're going to receive something called a 1099. I'm sure you're familiar with that already. When you get a 1099 in the mail, you have to turn that into the IRS, and you are taxed on whatever gains you earn that year. Okay? So that is being taxed on your growth today. The second way of being taxed on your growth, the growth of your money, is to be taxed on your growth tomorrow. What that means is you're going to be taxed on it at some point in the future. And usually when we talk about retirement accounts, those are tax deferred accounts. That means you will be taxed on that money in the future. So if you have $500,000 in your retirement account, that's terrific. But you really don't have $500,000 because Uncle Sam is your silent partner. And Uncle Sam can reach into that retirement account, change the tax rates on you, and take out whatever percentage of that retirement account Uncle Sam wants to take out. So right now, if you're in about the 24% tax bracket, and let's say maybe 6% like I am in Maryland for state income tax as well, that's a 30% tax bracket. So instead of having 500,000 in your retirement account, you don't really have that, because when you start living on that money, you're going to take that out as income. You're going to be taxed on that as income. You've got 70% of that. You've got $350,000. Okay. The third way of being taxed on your growth, not the money itself, but the growth of that money, is never. All right. Do you want to be taxed today, tomorrow, or never? Well, obviously never is the right answer. It's always better to pay taxes on the seed than to pay taxes on the harvest. Right now, taxes are on sale. Tax brackets have been reduced to record low levels. That is going to sunset at the end of 2025. And because of coronavirus spending, trillions of dollars in deficit spending, our national debt is now over $20 trillion. It's hard to even imagine how much money that is, honestly, right? We can't even grasp how much money that is. $20 trillion is the national debt, 20.3 to be precise. What that means is our federal government is paying interest on this debt, just like we pay interest on our consumer debts. At some point, the interest payment to service the national debt is going to consume the entire federal budget. The entire federal budget will go to paying interest on this debt. Does that mean, do you think that means the government is going to stop functioning? No. What does it mean? It means taxes are going to have to go up. Okay? Taxes are going to have to rise. So right now you have a 5-year window from 2020 to 2025 to shift your strategy into one in which you pay taxes on your growth? Never. Because if you have zero tax, and even if tax rates double, 0 times 2 is still 0. And there are only 2 legal ways to pay taxes on your growth never in the United States of America. One of which is, I'm sure you're all familiar with this, a Roth IRA. Now, a Roth IRA, inside a Roth IRA, your money is on the roller coaster ride that we talked about. It's going to grow, it's going to lose, it's going to grow, it's going to lose. Okay? There are also income limits for a Roth IRA. So some people earn so much money that they cannot even contribute to a Roth IRA. And then there are contribution limits, which Congress keeps tinkering with, and they raise slightly, but they're around the $6,000 to $7,000 ballpark. That's as much as you can put in. And that's because the government knows that tax-free growth is a really good thing, and they don't want you to get too much of a good thing. So they put that contribution limit there. But there's a second way that you can achieve tax-free growth that combines the power of the fixed index method, tax-free growth, and a third concept we'll talk about shortly, which is leverage. Okay, and you can combine all 3 of these things within cash value life insurance. But not just any cash value life insurance, because life insurance is like ice cream, and there are many different flavors. The one that I believe, and the one that I use the most often now, that is the most effective for clients and that is the best for the client, is called IUL. I stands for indexed, which is the staircase we talked about earlier. U is universal, which means it's a permanent policy that will never expire, no matter how old you live to be. And L, of course, is for life insurance. Now, the only rules around an IUL policy that the government imposes is that there must be a death benefit attached to this. Other than that, you don't have to wait until you're 59 and a half to touch the money that's growing inside your account. Once the money is there, it's yours. You can use it if you want to retire early. If you want to retire at age 45, you can live off your life insurance policy, assuming you have enough money there, until you're 59 and a half, and then start tapping into your other retirement accounts, for example. Or if you believe tax rates are going to increase, you can spend down your qualified retirement accounts, which are going to be taxable later, spend that money down first, and let your life insurance account continue to grow tax-free, and then start living off the life insurance, which is designed to last the rest of your life, okay? So life insurance has some additional benefits as well that you cannot get inside a Roth IRA. So you have your tax-free growth, and we're going to take a look at what that looks like in a minute. You also have additional money available to you tax-free in the event of a long-term care need. So in the event of needing help with 2 activities of daily living, walking, talking, grooming, bathing, eating, those kinds of things, then you can pull cash out of your death benefit to help you pay for those things, tax-free cash. You also have the death benefit, of course, which is tax-free money for your family. Many people save lots of money in a retirement account, but then they're afraid to spend it. They don't want to spend it later because they want to pass money on to their children and their grandchildren. And that's very noble, but it's actually the worst way that you can pass money on to future generations. If you're looking to build a legacy and you want to pass on a retirement account, what happens with that money is your non-spousal heir, so your children, your grandchildren, have only 10 years in which to spend down that account to 0. The federal law on that changed last year. So now when your kids and your grandkids are spending down this money, that puts them in the highest tax bracket usually. So now that they're taxed on that money as ordinary income, they're taxed on it at the highest levels in federal tax brackets, plus their state income tax if they have one. And now it's very common for your legacy that you've worked your whole life to build so you could pass money to future generations. Now 50% of that money is going to the government in taxes. And that is probably not at all what you had planned or wanted. The best thing, and you're also living a very frugal lifestyle in retirement. Instead of enjoying your golden years and traveling and buying that boat and playing golf and doing whatever you want to do after a lifetime of work, you may be pinching pennies because you're afraid you're going to run out of money, and you want to make sure that you leave money to your children. Instead of doing that, if you qualify, it's much better for you to get an IUL policy that gives you the tax-free growth while you're alive, the long-term care benefits while you're alive, and passes on a tax-free death benefit. So now you can spend your retirement money, you can enjoy your lifestyle, and you know that your kids are going to inherit tax-free a death benefit that's probably going to exceed your retirement account in the first place. So it benefits you and it benefits them later as well. And that's really what you're trying to achieve. Okay. The third benefit from an IUL policy, and this is probably the most significant, that you cannot get from a Roth IRA or any other financial instrument in America, is the power of leverage. And we're going to take a look and see what this looks like in just a second. Now, the power of leverage is something that homeowners or real estate investors are very familiar with. Many people choose to get a mortgage when they want to buy property. They don't want, even if they have the cash available on hand, they don't want to spend it all on real estate because they understand that having equity in real estate does not pay the bills. They would much rather leverage the bank's money and take out a mortgage on real estate and put down a small down payment and then use the bank's money, especially right now with interest rates being so low, it's practically free money, to then purchase property. Life insurance actually works in a very similar way. Now, not all life insurance companies work this way, so you have to work with a qualified and trusted advisor, preferably an independent advisor like myself, who has access to hundreds of companies to make sure that you're getting the best advice with the company that's right for you, okay? Not every company works this way, but the companies that I use work this way. And this is what I want to share with you. I'm going to share with you the power of leverage, okay? I'm going to tell you a real story about a client I'm working with right now. I will not share the client's name for obvious confidentiality reasons. I'm just going to call him John. John is selling a property. His property has appreciated quite a lot since he bought it 11 years ago. John is in a very good position in that he lives somewhere else. This has been a rental property for him, and in the Washington, D.C. area where property values have risen a lot. John does not need this cash right now. John is still working. He has a very good income. He has a retirement plan through work. He has outside savings. He's in a very good position. He wants to take the growth that he's made on this house and the gains, and he would still like to grow this money for the future, and he would like to grow it in a way that's tax-free if he can. The amount of money that John has to invest is $250,000 from the sale of this house. So I'm going to show you what the power of leverage means inside a life insurance policy, and how this is going to benefit John to take this money. Oh, nope, I can't do that. I'm sorry. I can't do that because the client's name still appears on that document. Okay, so unfortunately, I'm not able to share that with you, but I will tell you the general concept, okay? The general concept is this. Compounding interest has been called the eighth wonder of the world, where we've heard of the seven wonders of the world. The concept works like this. Okay, another chart. Compound interest goes on forever. New interest adds to old interest, and it just keeps compounding and going on and on and on. Compound interest never stops growing unless you take the money out. If you take the money out, then all the future interest that you would have earned on that money is lost forever. That should make sense, right? except inside a permanent life insurance policy that is properly structured. Again, not all of them do this, so you have to make sure you're structuring your policy properly. Inside a properly structured IUL policy, what happens is this: the money that you are withdrawing never leaves your account. Your cash is collateral against a loan of the company's cash. The companies have billions of dollars of excess cash that they have to keep in reserve for this purpose, above and beyond the money they need to pay every single death benefit that they owe to their clients, okay, their policyholders. When you are a policyholder with a certain type of company called a mutual life insurance company, you become, think of it like a shareholder in that company. That means you have the first right to that money, the billions of dollars that they have on hand. As your cash is accumulating inside your policy, when you're ready to tap into it later, you just call the company. Doesn't matter what age you are. You don't have to be 59 and a half. You can be any age. And you tell them that you want, say, $10,000, and they wire you $10,000, no questions asked. And you can use it to pay for college, buy a car, buy a rental property, excuse me, supplement your retirement income, whatever you need it for, all right? But here's the thing: when you say, I need $10,000, the $10,000 does not come out of your account. The $10,000 is your money is collateral against a loan of the company's money. And what that means is your compound interest never stops growing, never stops. Even as you're spending down, in theory, your money, you will see that your accumulation continues to grow. So even as you're using money, your accumulation value account grows and grows and grows forever. That accumulation value gets added to the death benefit so that there's a very large pot of tax-free money that gets passed down to future generations. Now, whatever money you've borrowed while you're alive is deducted from that death benefit. So essentially you're borrowing, and I know this sounds creepy, but you're borrowing against your future dead self. But the beauty of this system is this: your money is guaranteed to last as long as you live, even if you live to be 120 years old, all right? 110, 120 years old, that money will be there. So it is a beautiful system when you can combine the power of fixed indexed growth on the staircase, tax-free withdrawals, because you're withdrawing policy loans, and loans are not taxable income in America, and the power of leverage. You have supercharged your savings to unimaginable heights. I have clients who pay in maybe $120,000 in premium over 5 years or 10 years. And then by the time they're 80 years old, they've pulled out $500,000 in tax-free cash from their policy to live on. It is an incredible, incredible system. It's not well publicized. I'm actually in the process of writing a book about this, and I can't wait to share it with you. What I'd like to offer to you today is that if you go to my Calendly link and you schedule an appointment to Zoom with me and chat more about these concepts or anything else that you'd like to discuss, then I will send you a free chapter of my book. I'm going to share with you my information so that you can get in touch with me. There I am, Michelle Kotler. This is my phone number. This is my Calendly link. This is the easiest way to schedule time to talk. www.calendly.com/MSKotler, MSKOTLER. It's been a pleasure talking with you today. I hope you took something away that perhaps you didn't learn before, and I look forward to sending you a chapter of my upcoming book and talking with you soon. Thanks so much.